right?
Oh, wow.
So something pretty simple can be pretty interesting, I think. Well, plus I thought it could be a fun exercise to play with the reflections, to look for the lights and darks and shapes. Nice for practicing shading. But, you know, all sorts of different types, of course. So, you know, some are, of course, stock photos, but most are drawings. But I thought this was fun, kind of with the toned paper too, having a little bit of white into it. That's kind of fun. I think I'm actually going to draw with charcoal tonight, just to change it up. I've been doing a lot of graphite. And then I just want to show you this too really quickly. I took a photo of my glass of water that's sitting in front of me and turned it black and white. So I just wanted to show you that real quick. Okay, so there's my example too. So that's like what's sitting in front of me on my table. Just snapped it with my phone a minute. And then I can have a photo reference in addition to looking at the actual object. So sometimes that's kind of nice too, especially because it helps you frame your point of view a little bit, because sometimes when you're working from observation, it's easy to accidentally put in multiple viewpoints in the same drawing. So this kind of helps you bring it back to, you know, that initial point. Yeah, Ivan.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Good. You gonna draw some water
We'll see.
or something else? Or
I got
something
something
else?
I'm working on. Yeah.
I
Hey,
love it.
you know what
Go
I did
ahead.
do recently is I did a color swatch, you know, of like different
Oh,
colors,
cool.
watercolor. And then when that was done, I thought, well, that was kind of random. I put it in better order, so at least there was like a gradation of, you know, a rainbow thing. So
Oh, that's
I
neat.
don't
I
know which
like
one I
that.
like better, to be honest, but they're both useful.
I like them both. You know, the first one, when you held it up, it almost like reminds me of a weaving.
Yeah.
Like it looks like
Uh,
you took strips and like wove it together when you first held it up. That's like where my mind went.
yeah.
That's cool. I like
It's very
that.
cool.
Ivan, is
Yeah.
that watercolor?
Yeah, this is actually a really cheap watercolor. It's like the dye-based watercolor that they sell in the commercial things. I could
Yeah.
use nice paper and nice watercolor and see how it comes out next, because I kind of like
Yeah.
doing this.
You
Yeah.
should. You know what's interesting is, honestly, I think watercolor paper is most important. I think
Hmm.
it's better to have fancy paper, nice paper, and cheap watercolors than it is to have super nice watercolors and cheap paper. So that could
Agreed.
be a fun test for you to do, to
No,
play
yeah.
around with that. But cheap
You know,
watercolor on nice
yeah.
paper.
I used Canson water paper, which was okay, but I prefer to use Arches. But all I had was rough grain, and I wasn't going to get the bleeds with that.
Yeah.
So I kind of used the best I had. But
Yeah.
if I upgrade, I'm sure it'll be better. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Arches, that's good stuff for
Yeah.
sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. I'm going to switch over my camera viewpoint. There we go. I tell you, it is so nice just having this camera plugged in all the time and not having my camera problems. It's like a whole new world. Let's see. We'll get some little background music going for us. And I'll just, of course, kind of chat through my process and kind of what I'm doing. But of course, you know, as always, I think drawing from observation is just really about practicing drawing what we see, focusing on those you know, highlights, the light areas, the shadows, those mid-tones. I try to at least have 5 different values in my drawing when I'm done. Minimum, I try to, you know, at least differentiate 5. So I always think that's a kind of a good, oops, I did not mean to do that. I meant to just share. There we go. Music. Okay. All right, so So to get started, I am actually going to give myself a little boundary. I've been really into that lately. So I'm just going to kind of use the constraints of my picture here and just kind of make up a size, probably like 4 by 6. Actually, no, I'm gonna go 5 by 6. So you of course don't have to give yourself boundaries, but or a frame, but sometimes it's kind of nice. I'm using, like I said, charcoal today. I'm starting with a little bit of, this is vine charcoal, and I'm just going to start laying in a ground for myself. I could also work on toned paper, but I'm just going to lay this ground in. And you could do this with a graphite stick too, or you don't have to lay in a ground. I like to be able to kind of erase too, and also add pops of white. I'm just using a tissue to blend this out. I think, you know, if you can handle the messiness of charcoal, I think it's a really great medium to practice drawing in. The vine charcoal especially is like really forgiving, which I'll kind of show you because I'll start drawing. Need some more vine charcoal. My vine charcoal is looking pretty little. But so this is a smaller piece of vine charcoal. So what you can do with the vine charcoal that's really nice is you can just kind of draw and then just blend it back into the background. So it's almost like a little way to erase, which is kind of nice. So I'm going to start with the vine charcoal, and I'm going to just kind of put a loose kind of sketch of this glass. Again, I like this because if I don't like something, it's pretty easy to, like I said, just erase and get rid of it. Or blend it out, I should say. Actually, you know, I'm going to start at the top. So sometimes I like to just kind of mark where I'm going to place the initial kind of where things hit, just for proportions. I think that, you know, one of the trickiest things with a glass is, of course, the ellipse up at the top. And that sometimes I think a photo can be helpful for that point of view. You can kind of capture that one and you're not shifting your eye level around, because as you shift your eye level, that ellipse is going to look different. And of course, you know, every glass, depending on what type of glass you're drawing, it's a little different. But, you know, the one thing they have in common is they've all got an ellipse at the top. Unless you've got a squarish cup. I do have a kind of a squarish mug though, so it's possible. So I really only will use like the vine charcoal while I'm initially just blocking in my contour shape, and then I'll switch over to a compressed charcoal, which is still very blendable, but it's going to be a little bit more permanent on the paper. You'd have to erase it with an eraser. It's not going to just blend away like this does. But typically this ellipse here at the bottom will be parallel to this top one, but again, depending on your glass, depending on that viewpoint, so I'm just gonna block in a little bit of this edge. And then just some of the major shifts or edges and lines within the glass. I did put a couple ice cubes in mine just I thought it'd be kind of interesting. I'm just blocking in a little bit more with the vine again, just that gives me a little bit more freedom to erase or blend away. And you know, as always with observational drawing, it's really up to you how realistic you want things to be, because it is a really nice thing to use real objects to create the essence of something, or just use it but then stylize it. It's based on reality, so it's really personal preference to how realistic or how much detail you want to capture. There are a lot of different styles of art. Okay, that looks good enough for the vine, I think, for now. I am going to, so what I have here is, this is a compressed charcoal pencil. I have just a eraser on the back. So what I'm going to do a minute is actually just erase some of the light areas, which when I show you my photo, kind of like back around in here. I'm just going to erase some of the lights, and then I'll darken, and then my middle value is kind of already there. And you know, if there's a detail in your photo, if you're working from a photo or from your point of view that you don't want to include, that's fine. It's okay to not include every aspect of what you see. An example of that, like on mine, would be like I've got some detail in the wall, some little texture, and I'm just not even gonna worry about that. If I want to go back and add that later, I could. then with the compressed pencil, I can start to darken areas, make them a little bit more permanent. And then of course with graphite and the charcoal, you can always fix it with fixative or hairspray. The drawings, as far as the observational drawings go too, if you don't finish within an hour or so, you can absolutely keep working on them, or you can always, kind of treat it as a study where you just got as far as you could in that time. I really kind of do both. Sometimes it's nice to finish things, and sometimes it's time to move on from things. Just pay attention to like edges by looking at the values as they meet. You want to avoid things looking outlined. So a good way to do that is use the background negative space to help inform the edge. Like in this area, how this is darker and this will go up and meet this tone here, rather than it looking like it's outlined. Now sometimes, like, things do have distinct edges, but then sometimes they don't. just remember too, if reflections are challenging, just try to look for the shapes that you see and ask yourself, is it dark, medium, or light? Value. And of course, as we've been talking about with Betty Edwards, is try not to think of it as you're drawing a glass of water at all. Focus on what you see, the relationships of lines and edges. Just remember, it's up to you to how much detail you want to include. And when I talked about kind of edges and things and outlined, edges seeming outlined, if you're going for a more stylized look, sometimes having things outlined looks amazing. So, keep that in mind too. It's outlining or heavy edges just tend to read as more stylized or cartoony. So if that's something that you want, then that can be really fun. But if you're wanting your work to look more realistic, then you want to stay away from those heavy edges and outlined border. Just remember, lights and darks and medium values work together to create this illusion of depth and space. or I'll charcoal and graphite too, is very, very layerable. Just remember, you can keep building up layers. And you can think, about texture too. Do you like things smooth and blended? Or do you like things to see texture, to see the mark of your pencil? And again, you don't have to include every last little detail. Too, with charcoal is nice because you can actually add a full, like a white with a white pencil. Which can be kind of nice. Just remember, pushing your dark areas even darker is going to help increase your contrast. Always make sure you've got several areas that are real dark and several areas that are real light. So you've got a full range of value. And again, it's just, those kind of act of darkening and lightening, looking at the different values you see, deciding how you might want to interpret textures and details depending on how much you want to include. And of course, remember to hold your drawing back every once in a while too, because when you're looking at it so up close, it changes when you pull it back and look at it from a distance. And I always think too, like at the end of your drawing, it's always good to just sort of look back at the values and kind of check them. Are they dark enough? Are they light enough? to kind of pay attention to my background, like I mentioned too, and how that can just help with those edges and making things look a little bit more complete. Now, of course, you can, kind of push your glass as far as you want to, add as much detail as you want to. I think the biggest thing is just making sure you've got those dark areas and those light areas, and then middle value areas. And you can always use your eraser to, pop out something to make it a little bit brighter, which is going to help it come forward to the viewer. And then you can always use your pencil to darken areas too, which will go back in space and help create depth. So I hope you guys had fun drawing the glass of water. I thought it was pretty fun. I had fun with the charcoal. It was fun just to kind of make it a little bit more expressive, but still make it a glass